You are going to die. I know, it's not a pleasant thought. In our culture, it's the ultimate taboo. We don't talk about it. We don't think about it. We build our entire lives around pretending it isn't true. But what if I told you that this single terrifying fact holds the key to unlocking a life of profound meaning, joy, and purpose? What if embracing your mortality, instead of fearing it, was the most powerful tool you have to truly live? This isn't a morbid obsession. This is Memento Mori, the ancient Stoic meditation on death. And it's not about dying. It's about living. It's the secret that allowed emperors to rule with justice, slaves to live with freedom, and artists to create timeless masterpieces. In this video, we're going to explore the 5 most powerful lessons of Memento Mori. We'll look at how the Stoics used it, how it's backed by modern psychology, and how you can use this ancient practice to transform your life starting today. This isn't about death, this is about waking up. The Roman philosopher Seneca called it the sleepwalking sickness. It's the state of living on autopilot. We go through the motions, wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat, without ever truly being present. We chase promotions we don't want, buy things we don't need, and worry about opinions that don't matter. Why do we do this? Because we operate under the illusion of infinite time. We tell ourselves, I'll travel the world, someday. I'll start that business, someday. I'll tell them I love them, someday. We live as if we have 1,000 years in the bank. Seneca had a powerful quote for this. He said, "You live as if you were destined to live forever. No thought of your frailty ever enters your head. Of how much time has already gone by, you take no heed. You squander time as if you drew from a full and abundant supply, though all the while that very day which you bestow on some person or thing is perhaps your last." This is the core of the problem. Our denial of death creates a life of triviality. We major in minor things. We get angry about traffic. We hold grudges. We waste our precious, finite moments on things that, in the grand scheme of things, are utterly meaningless. Memento Mori is the cure for this sickness. It's the bucket of ice water that wakes us up from the dream. The first and most immediate effect of Memento Mori is radical clarity. When you truly internalize that your time is limited, the trivialities of life are stripped away. Suddenly, what is important becomes crystal clear. Steve Jobs, in his famous Stanford commencement speech, said this beautifully. He told the students that for 33 years he had looked in the mirror every morning and asked himself, "If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?" And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, he knew he needed to change something. This is Memento Mori in action. It's not about being morbid, it's about being selective. It's a tool for decision-making. Should you take that job you hate for a little more money? Should you spend your evening arguing with a stranger on the internet? Should you hold on to that grudge that's eating you alive? Memento Mori answers these questions with ruthless efficiency. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This wasn't a source of depression for him, it was a source of power. It was the ultimate filter, ensuring that he dedicated his time and energy only to what was truly essential. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you face a difficult decision, use the Deathbed Test. Project yourself into the future. You're at the end of your life, looking back. From that perspective, which choice will you be glad you made? Which path will have led to a life of more meaning and less regret? This simple mental shift can cut through years of indecision. Clarity is the first step, but it's useless without action. The second lesson of Memento Mori is a profound sense of urgency. It's the antidote to procrastination. It's the fuel for a life of purpose. The Stoics had a concept they called hic et nunc, here and now. They understood that the only time we truly have is this present moment. The past is gone, a ghost. The future is a fantasy, a promise that may never arrive. All of life is contained in this single, fleeting instant. Seneca, again, is ruthless on this point. He says, "Putting things off is the biggest waste of life. It snatches away each day as it comes and denies us the present by promising the future." Memento Mori forces you to confront this. If you knew you only had 1 year left to live, would you waste a single day? a single hour. This isn't about frantic, panicked action. It's about focused, intentional action. It's about treating your time as the precious, non-renewable resource it is. It's about finally doing the things you know you should be doing. The Stoics weren't passive philosophers, they were men of action. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor. Seneca was a statesman. Cato the Younger was a political leader. They were busy people who understood that their time was short and their duties were great. Here's a practical exercise. Instead of a to-do list, try them in your days. Each morning, ask yourself, if this were my last day, what quality would I want to embody? Maybe today is about focus. Maybe it's about patience. Maybe it's about kindness. This shifts your focus from just doing things to being a certain way, infusing your actions with intention and purpose, all driven by the quiet urgency of Memento Mori. Our ego is the source of so much of our suffering. It's the part of us that craves status, that fears judgment, and that gets consumed by petty conflicts. The third lesson of Memento Mori is that it is the ultimate ego killer. It cultivates a profound sense of humility. When you zoom out and contemplate your own mortality against the backdrop of cosmic time, your personal dramas and anxieties shrink to their proper size. That embarrassing thing you said last week? That promotion you didn't get? That person who cut you off in traffic? In the face of death, it's all dust. The Romans had a powerful ritual for this. During a general's victory parade, his moment of ultimate glory, a slave would stand behind him in the chariot and whisper in his ear, "Memento Mori." Remember, you will die. It was a reminder that no matter how high you climb, no matter how much power you acquire, you are still mortal. You are still human. This humility has a beautiful side effect. It fosters connection. When you realize that everyone you meet, the barista, your boss, the person you disagree with online, is living under the same death sentence, it becomes much harder to be cruel. It becomes much easier to be kind. We are all, as Seneca said, fellow slaves. We are all in this together. Practice the view from above, a classic Stoic meditation. Close your eyes and imagine yourself floating up, looking down on your life. See your home, your city. See the other people, all with their own hopes, fears, and struggles. Zoom out further to see the whole planet, a tiny blue marble in the vastness of space. Feel the shared humanity, the shared fate. This perspective naturally cultivates empathy and dissolves the ego. Life is full of pain. We lose jobs, we get sick, our hearts get broken. The fourth lesson of Memento Mori is that it builds incredible resilience. It's a psychological armor against the inevitable hardships of life. When you live with the awareness of death, you learn to distinguish between a real crisis and a mere inconvenience. A traffic jam is not a tragedy. A negative comment is not a catastrophe. Memento Mori provides the ultimate perspective. It asks the question, is this the thing I'm going to waste my final moments on? The answer is almost always no. The Stoics used Memento Mori not to despair, but to find courage. If the worst thing that can happen to you, death, is an inevitable and natural event, then what is there left to truly fear? As Seneca wrote, he who has learned to die has unlearned to be a slave. You become free from the fear that controls so much of human behavior. This doesn't mean you become reckless. It means you become brave. You stop being afraid of taking calculated risks. You stop being afraid of speaking your mind. You stop being afraid of living a life that is authentic to you, even if it invites criticism or failure. You know what the real worst-case scenario is, and a failed project isn't it? Try the fear-setting exercise, popularized by Tim Ferriss and inspired by Seneca. Take a fear that's holding you back. Write down in detail the absolute worst-case scenario. Then, write down what you could do to prevent it. Finally, write down what you would do to repair the damage if it happened. You'll often find that the potential consequences are far less scary than the vague anxiety in your head, and that you are more resourceful than you think. This brings us to the final and most beautiful paradox of Memento Mori. Contemplating death doesn't make life bleak and depressing. It makes it vibrant, precious, and full of joy. When you realize that this moment right now is a gift, that it was never guaranteed, you start to appreciate the simple things. The taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of a loved one's voice. These aren't just mundane details anymore. They are miracles. They are the fabric of life itself. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to pass then through this little space of time conformably to nature, and end thy journey in content, just as an olive falls when it is ripe, blessing nature who produced it, and thanking the tree on which it grew. Memento Mori is the practice of seeing the beauty in the ordinary. It's the practice of gratitude, not for what you hope to get, but for what you already have. It transforms your entire orientation to life. Instead of seeing life as a problem to be solved, you see it as a gift to be cherished. You stop asking, "What can I get from the world?" and start asking, "What can I give?" You stop living in fear of loss and start living in a state of appreciation. Practice the last time meditation. The next time you're doing something you love or spending time with someone you care about, gently remind yourself, this could be the last time. Not in a sad way, but in a way that brings your full attention to the present moment. You will find that it makes the experience richer, the colors brighter, and the connection deeper. This is the beautiful paradox of Memento Mori. To live a truly great life, you must first be willing to contemplate its end. It's the ultimate tool for perspective, for action, for humility, for resilience, and for joy. It's not a one-time thought, it's a daily practice. It's the whisper in your ear that says, "Don't waste this." It's the filter that clarifies your priorities. It's the fuel that drives you to act. It's the perspective that keeps you humble. It's the armor that makes you resilient. And it's the lens that reveals the beauty in every fleeting moment. You are going to die, and that is the best reason in the world to start living. If you want to continue exploring practical philosophy for a better life, subscribe to Eudaimonia. And in the comments below, I want to ask you, which of the 5 lessons of Memento Mori resonated with you the most? Clarity, urgency, humility, resilience, or joy? Let me know. Thank you for watching.